So in this video, we're going to be talking about Atterberg limits. So Atterberg limits are the critical moisture content of soils. That is to say, the point at where soils start behaving like different materials. For example, there's a liquid limit where soil is going to start behaving like a liquid, and a plastic limit where soil is going to start behaving a little more differently as a solid. We'll get into that later. So the way that we determine these limits are through two tests. The first test is the plastic limit test. It involves rolling soils on a plate until they're about 1/4 of an inch in diameter and they start to crack. So as you roll the soil, you'll notice that it starts to have little cracks in it. And the second test is a liquid limit test. This involves taking what's known as a Casa Grande's cup, which is pictured here, where you take soil in this cup and you cut a little groove in the soil, as you can see here, and then you can spin that lever. And as you spin that lever, it's going to lift the cup up and down, slamming it down, and you hit that on the ground until the soil meets in the middle, as you can see here. In both tests, you'll take samples from those soils and put them into little cups. Then you dry those cups to determine what the amount of moisture it was in the soil, and you can determine the various limits. So as the soil's moisture content increases, its properties change. So the first limit that's going to be hit as you increase it, the soil's moisture content, is the shrinkage limit. At this point is when the soil stops behaving like a solid and starts to behave like a semi-solid. So for example, when the soil is completely solid, it's going to be very, very hard to break. It's going to be like if you have ever had like totally solid clay after like an art class project and you drop it and it literally cracks. Once you're the semi-solid state, it's able to be kind of mended a little bit, but not really. So again, it says like kind of like a cheese. Then you hit the plastic limit. The plastic limit is where the soil starts to become a little more malleable. So for example, it's going to feel kind of like art class clay. That's a really good example of a soil that's going to be above its plastic limit. Then once you get above that, you're going to hit the liquid limit. The liquid limit is the point where the soil is basically a liquid. So if you've ever been walking through the mud and the kind of mud that kind of rips your shoe off as you walk through it, that is a soil that is well over its liquid limit. In between the two ranges of the liquid limit and plastic limit, you have what's called the plasticity index. This is the range of soil moisture contents where a soil is going to behave like a plastic material. It's useful for construction and other purposes like that. That's it.